Welcome to Time Before Us, the channel where ancient history breathes again. Before time had a name, before the first human breath, there existed a world fierce, forgotten, and alive. Creatures of scale and silence, predators wrapped in. Feathers, titans that shook the earth. Lives erased, bones buried beneath eternity. But they are not lost. They are waiting. This is Time Before Us, where prehistory worlds rise again, and the stories buried in stone finally speak. Chapter 1 whispers beneath the stars. The night settles slowly across the prehistoric world. Imagine yourself standing on the edge of a vast plain, where the last rays of sunlight sink below the horizon. The sky fades from gold to violet, then into a deep, endless blue. Above, unfamiliar constellations shimmer, for the stars you see tonight are millions of years younger than the ones we know today. The air is cooler now, carrying with it the earthy scent of ferns and damp soil. In the distance, a deep, rhythmic sound vibrates across the plain. It isn't thunder, it's the slow, steady breathing of a giant. A lone sauropod, perhaps a brachiosaurus, lowers its long neck, its massive body silhouetted against the pale glow of the moon. The creature exhales, sending a cloud of mist, swirling into the night air. For a moment, time itself feels hushed, as if the earth is holding its breath alongside this peaceful giant. This is the world of dinosaurs at rest. Most people picture dinosaurs in constant motion, roaring, hunting, fighting. But just like us, they had moments of calm. They grazed, they wandered, and when darkness came, they too rested. Tonight, we step quietly into that hidden world, a softer side of the age of reptiles, where night tells a story all its own, somewhere. Nearby, a family of smaller dinosaurs stirs in the undergrowth. A group of Truden, quick-footed and bright-eyed, lift their heads to watch the stars. Scientists believe Truden may have had excellent night vision. Their eyes were unusually large, adapted to low light. Imagine them blinking slowly, scanning the shadows, curious but cautious. Unlike the giants on the plain, these little hunters thrive in the darkness. The insects hum around them, the first true crickets chirping from the ferns. A chorus of sounds begins, clicks, buzzes, the distant croak of prehistoric amphibians. Night in the Mesozoic isn't silent at all. It's alive with voices, many of them small, but together they weave an atmosphere that feels strangely familiar. Even in a world filled with creatures we no longer see, the soundtrack of night, the rustle of leaves, the call of animals unseen, feels timeless. Far above, a shadow glides across the stars. For a moment, it almost looks like a bat, but this is no mammal. It's a pterosaur, wings stretched wide, catching the night currents. These creatures were not dinosaurs, though they lived alongside them. Their wings weren't made of feathers like birds, but of skin stretched taut over elongated fingers. Some species had wingspans as wide as a small airplane, yet here in the moonlight, even the largest pterosaur moves silently, weightless against the sky. As it circles once, twice, and disappears into the dark, we're reminded how vast and mysterious this ancient world really was. The sauropod shifts its weight, pressing its enormous feet into the earth with a sound like distant drums. Its steps are unhurried. This is a creature with no reason to rush. At nearly 40 tons, it fears little in the night. Predators may lurk, Allosaurus perhaps, somewhere in the forest shadows, but even the bravest hunter thinks twice before approaching such a colossus. And yet, life is balance. For every giant, there's a smaller story unfolding. Near the edge of a shallow stream, a group of small ornithopods, Hypsilophodon, light and nimble, gather to drink. Their movements are nervous, quick. They tilt their heads to sip, ears twitching at every sound. To them, the night is not peaceful. It's full of risk. A snapping branch, a shifting shadow, any could mean danger. The tension is real, yet it is quiet. You almost feel their heartbeat in your own chest. They finish quickly and vanish back into the ferns, leaving only ripples on the water. What's remarkable is that this entire nighttime world, from the giants resting to the smallest hunters waiting in silence, existed for tens of millions of years. Nights like this happened again and again, across continents, across eras, and the stars above? Dinosaurs would have gazed upon them, just as we do. Some scientists suggest that animals then, as now, may have navigated by the stars. Could a migrating herd of dinosaurs have lifted their heads at night, finding their way by constellations we can no longer recognize? The thought is humbling. Let's follow the night a little deeper. Imagine walking slowly, carefully, into a grove of ancient trees. Their trunks are thick, their leaves wide and heavy, filtering the pale moonlight into soft shadows. The air is cooler here, filled with the smell of resin and damp earth. From the darkness, you hear a low rumble. At first it seems like thunder. Again, but then it comes again, softer, almost like a purr. Hidden among the trees, a group of ceratopsians, Triceratops cousins, are resting. Their great frills, edged with horn, lie flat against the ground as they doze. Every now and then, one shifts, snorts softly, and settles again. Even these armored giants needed rest. The young ones, smaller and more restless, stir beside them. They nuzzle their mothers, paw at the soil, and blink wide-eyed into the dark. Maybe they're curious about the shadows. Maybe they're simply reluctant to sleep. Some things, it seems, never change, even across millions of years. The night deepens. Above the canopy, the Milky Way arches across the sky, dazzling in a way modern eyes rarely see. No city lights dim this view, no haze obscures it. Just endless stars, glittering in silence. Here is where imagination takes flight. If you close your eyes, you can almost picture what it would be like to fall asleep in this world. The ground beneath you warm from the day's sun, the sounds of distant creatures like a lullaby, the stars stretching on forever. And in this moment, you realize something. Dinosaurs weren't monsters from a nightmare. They were animals living within rhythms of day and night, light and dark, rest and movement, just like every creature alive today. A sudden sound breaks the stillness. A predator's call, low, echoing, rolls out from the forest. For a heartbeat, everything goes quiet. The insects hush, the smaller dinosaurs freeze, even the great sauropod lifts its head. The moment stretches, tense. Then, slowly, the night resumes. The predator, perhaps hunting elsewhere, does not emerge. The sauropod exhales again, the trudens shift in the ferns, and the chorus of night rises once more. The world remembers its balance. As the hours pass, mist begins to curl along the ground, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Dew gathers on fern, fronds. The giants continue to breathe slowly, peacefully, their massive chests rising and falling like the tides of the ancient sea. In the silence of these hours, the earth whispers a truth, that the age of dinosaurs was not only about survival, but about life in its full spectrum. Calm and chaos, predator and prey, night and day. A balance as timeless as the stars above. And so, as the night deepens into its quietest hours, you too can rest. Let the breath of the sauropods, the hum of the insects, and the distant glide of the pterosaurs be your lullaby. The dinosaurs are not gone, not in memory, not in science, and not in this story. Tonight, they live again, beneath the same stars that shine down on you. Sleep, and let the whispers of the ancient night carry you across time. Chapter 2. The first dawn. The night begins to loosen its grip. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the stars fade and the horizon brightens with a faint glow. Dawn in the age of dinosaurs was unlike anything we know today. The atmosphere was warmer, thicker with moisture, the air carrying scents we can only imagine, resin from towering conifers, sweetness from ancient cycads, and the earthy musk of animals stirring from their slumber. The first rays of sunlight creep across the land, spilling over ferns that stretch taller than a human, painting the forest floor in streaks of gold. The silhouettes of giants emerge in the mist. Brachiosaurs shift their colossal frames, raising their heads high above the treetops to greet the morning. With each movement, droplets of dew fall from leaves and branches, sparkling like jewels in the early light. And then, a sound. A deep, resonant call rolling like a drumbeat across the valley. It is not a roar of fury, nor a cry of pain. It is simply life announcing itself, a long, low call that says, "The world is awake once more." The smaller creatures stir first. A flock of tiny feathered dinosaurs, perhaps microraptors, flutter through the trees, their wings catching the rising light. They are as black as ravens, but with an iridescence that glimmers faintly green and blue in the sun. They chase insects through the canopy, wings brushing leaves, claws gripping branches. Imagine waking to that, a world where tiny four-winged dinosaurs leap from tree to tree like living sparks of color. On the ground, dry foliage crunches under the quick steps of Hypsilophodon, a rabbit-sized herbivore. They travel in little groups, alert and cautious, darting in and out of cover as they nibble at soft shoots sprouting through the soil. Their eyes shine bright in the dawn light, always watching. Every rustle could mean danger, but for now, they focus on feeding, knowing the day will grow hot. The sun climbs higher, and with it, the giants rise. A herd of sauropods pushes forward through the forest, their immense bodies swaying with each step. The ground quivers faintly beneath their weight. Their tails sweep low, leaving grooves in the earth, and their long necks stretch toward the canopy. With effortless grace, they pull down branches and swallow leaves whole. To watch them is to see living architecture. Their bodies are like moving towers, impossibly large yet strangely serene. For all their size, they are peaceful, their only weapons being their bulk, their numbers, and their patience. Predators may watch from afar, but for now, none dare approach. Dawn is a time of renewal, but also of opportunity. From the shadows of a rocky outcrop, sharp eyes glint in the light. A pack of small predators, raptors, sleek and feathered, stir with hunger. They have waited all night, conserving energy, and now the moment has come. Their movements are deliberate, silent, like shadows peeling away from stone. But their target is not the towering sauropods. Instead, their gaze fixes on a different prize, a young hadrosaur, separated slightly from its herd. The raptors move low through the ferns, their tails balancing each step, their claws curled in readiness. The dawn, so calm, now holds a flicker of tension. The herd senses it. Heads rise, ears twitch, and within moments, the illusion of vulnerability shatters. The young hadrosaur bolts back toward the group, its hooves thundering on the soil. The raptors freeze, their chance gone. Dawn has brought them no feast today. Yet even in failure, their story continues. Predators endure by waiting, by learning, by trying again. The balance of life holds. As the light strengthens, the forest reveals its palette. Green dominates, endless shades of it, from the deep tones of towering conifers to the bright fronds of ferns. But there are flashes of other colors too. The scarlet bloom of ancient seed plants, the earthy oranges of lichens, the pale yellow of pollen drifting through the air. This world is alive with hues, not the dull gray wasteland some once imagined. And then there are the dinosaurs themselves. Feathers catch the light in ways we are only beginning to understand. Patterns, striping, mottled camouflage. Scientists now know many dinosaurs were not plain but vibrant, adapted to blend or impress. Picture a dawn where every rustle reveals flashes of unexpected color, a crest of red, a shimmer of blue, a streak of gold. By midday, the heat will become heavy, almost oppressive. But dawn is forgiving. The animals know this, and they move with a rhythm tuned to the day. Herds travel toward water, leaving trails of flattened grass in their wake. Pterosaurs wheel overhead, their cries sharp and echoing as they search the rivers for fish. The insects intensify their chorus, buzzing louder as the air warms, and you, the listener, remain an unseen presence among them. A traveler through time, drifting gently across this landscape of giants and whispers. There is something humbling in imagining this dawn. It reminds us that dinosaurs were not simply creatures of spectacle. They were part of a living, breathing cycle. They woke with the sun, moved with the seasons, and rested with the night. They were animals in balance with their world, no different in spirit from the creatures we know today. And though they are gone, the echo of their mornings lingers. In the call of a bird at sunrise, in the hum of insects as light spills across the land, in the simple rhythm of life awakening each day. As the sun finally clears the horizon, the full power of the day arrives. Shadows shorten, the air grows warmer, and the first dawn of this imagined journey gives way to a new chapter. Yet for a moment, you hold on to the stillness of that prehistoric sunrise, the whisper of feathers in flight, the sway of giants among the trees, the hush of predators waiting for their chance. It is a dawn no human ever saw, yet in your mind, it feels as vivid as any morning you have ever known. And so, the day begins in the age of dinosaurs. Chapter 3. Echoes of the riverbank, approximately 2,000 words. The river moves slowly, carving its path through the prehistoric forest. Its surface glitters in the morning sun, disturbed only by the ripple of fish beneath and the occasional splash of something breaking the water. This river is more than just a stream. It is the heartbeat of the land. Every creature, from the smallest insect to the largest dinosaur, is drawn to its banks. Imagine walking along the edge of this ancient waterway. Ferns bend toward you, brushing your legs. The air is humid, thick with the smell of wet earth and resin dripping from the towering conifers overhead. Somewhere in the trees, a chorus of cicadas buzzes, steady and hypnotic. And then you see them. A herd of hadrosaurs, duck-billed dinosaurs, easing their way down to drink. They move with surprising grace for creatures so large, their skin glistening with dew. Their heads bob gently as they dip into the water, creating concentric rings that shimmer outward. The sound of their breath mingles with the flowing river, a soft symphony of survival. Hadrosaurs were among the most common herbivores of their time. Their mouths, shaped like flat bills, were lined with hundreds of tiny grinding teeth. These teeth worked like living mills, chewing through plants tougher than most modern animals could ever stomach. Picture them grazing along the riverbank, chewing slowly, their tails swaying like pendulums in rhythm with their steps. But the river is no safe haven. In the still water, shadows glide beneath the surface. Crocodiliforms, the ancestors of today's crocodiles, wait patiently. Their eyes just above the water, their bodies motionless. They have not changed much in over 200 million years. And why would they? Their design is perfect, silent, lethal. One sudden lunge, and the calm scene could shatter in an instant. The hadrosaurs, however, are wary. They keep to the shallows, ears twitching, tails stiff. Predators may lurk, but instinct tells them to drink quickly, then move on. Their survival depends not on strength, but on vigilance. Just beyond the herd, the river narrows and deepens. Here, the world belongs to another kind of giant, aquatic reptiles like plesiosaurs. With their long necks and powerful flippers, they glide through the water like living submarines. Though they are not true dinosaurs, their presence adds another layer to the river's mystery. The sight of one rising to breathe is mesmerizing. Its long neck pierces the surface, droplets cascading from its sleek skin, before it vanishes silently again into the depths. To the creatures of the riverbank, this is just another neighbor, dangerous only if they stray too far into its domain. The riverbank is also alive with smaller stories. Along the muddy shore, tiny dinosaurs leave their footprints, delicate three-toed impressions pressed into the soft earth. A group of Compsognathus scurry about, chasing insects and snapping at lizards. Barely a meter long, they move like nervous sparrows, darting back and forth in quick bursts of energy. Their tracks will dry, harden, and perhaps someday, millions of years later, turn into fossils that scientists will study. Little echoes of lives once lived. Above, the trees rustle. A flash of wings breaks the stillness as a group of pterosaurs swoops low over the river. Their cries are sharp, almost harsh, but in the rhythm of the morning, even their calls blend into the chorus of life. They dip toward the water, skimming the surface to snatch fish, before lifting effortlessly into the sky again. Their shadows ripple across the surface like fleeting ghosts, but perhaps the most enchanting sound of the river is not the calls of dinosaurs or the splashes of reptiles. It is the voice of the river itself. The water rushes over stones, gurgles in shallows, and sighs into deeper pools. It carries with it the memory of rains, of mountains far away, of time itself. The creatures of this world may come and go, but the river flows eternal. And with it, life thrives. Plants cluster thickly near its banks, horsetails, cycads, and towering ferns reaching greedily for sunlight. Insects crawl along their stems, dragonflies the size of dinner plates hover above the surface, and in the shadows, amphibians lurk, their throats pulsing as they call to one another. It is a world of abundance, but also of constant caution. Every creature here knows that stillness can turn into danger in an instant. A rustle in the bushes could mean a predator. A ripple on the surface could mean a hidden strike. Yet for now, the river hums with harmony, each life form playing its part. Further downstream, where the river widens into a broad floodplain, the scene changes again. Herds gather in greater numbers. Sauropods wade in the shallows, their massive tails dragging through the water, creating swirling currents that churn up fish for smaller hunters to catch. Ornithopods gather in flocks, feeding on the lush growth that flourishes along the fertile banks. This is not just a river, it is the backbone of an ecosystem. Remove the water, and the herds vanish, the forests wither, and the predators fade into memory. But as long as the river flows, life continues. Unstoppable, UNTAMED. And then, a sound rolls out over the water. A roar, deep, resonant, commanding. The herds freeze. Birds scatter from the trees. Even the insects seem to pause. Emerging from the tree line, jaws glistening in the sun, strides a predator. A tyrannosaur. Its presence is overwhelming. Muscles ripple beneath its skin as it approaches, each step sinking into the mud with a heavy thud. Its eyes scan the herd, calculating, patient, yet it does not rush. Tyrannosaurs were not reckless. They were deliberate, conserving their strength, waiting for the right moment. The hadrosaurs edge back, tails swaying nervously. The sauropods turn away, their massive bulk a shield against attack. The river, once calm, now holds its breath. The predator lowers its head to drink. Ripples spread outward, as if the water itself acknowledges the ruler of the land. And just as suddenly as the tension rose, it eases again. The tyrannosaur is not hunting today. For now it drinks then. Turns back into the forest, leaving the riverbank to breathe once more. Hours pass, the sun climbing higher, the river glittering beneath its heat. Herds shift away to find shade. Insects buzz louder. The air grows heavier. Yet the river flows on, timeless, carrying with it the songs of a world that will one day vanish but never be forgotten. And as you listen to the echoes of this ancient riverbank, you realize something profound. The water that flowed here millions of years ago is the same water that flows today. The cycle never ended. Every drop carries within it the memory of dinosaurs, of forests long gone, of echoes still alive in stone. The river never truly forgets. Chapter 4. Forest of Giant. Step into the shade of the prehistoric forest, and the world changes. The air cools. Sunlight filters through in golden shafts, breaking into patterns on the ground. It feels like entering a cathedral, where every tree is a towering pillar, every fern a whisper of ancient prayer. The forest is alive, breathing, humming, a sanctuary for giants. The first thing you notice is the sheer scale. Conifers rise higher than skyscrapers, their trunks so wide you would need 10 people holding hands to encircle one. Cycads and tree ferns cluster in their shadows, their fronds arching like feathers. On the forest floor, moss and horsetails cover the ground in a thick green carpet. Everything feels oversized, as though the entire world was designed for creatures much larger than us. And then, a tremor, soft at first, then stronger, leaves shiver. Branches sway. A low, resonant boom echoes through the forest. Another step, another boom. Out of the shadows they appear, sauropods. Dinosaurs the length of train cars, necks rising. Like living towers above the treetops. Imagine the sound of them moving. Each step presses deep into the soil, a muffled thud followed by the groan of earth adjusting beneath their weight. Their tails sweep behind them like massive whips, slicing through undergrowth and leaving clear paths in their wake. And their necks, impossibly long, swaying gracefully as they reach high into the canopy, stripping branches with soft rhythmic bites. These sauropods, giants like Brachiosaurus or Diplodocus, were the architects of the forest. With every mouthful of leaves, they reshaped the canopy. With every tree they stripped bare, they opened space for sunlight to reach the ground, feeding new growth. Their very existence sculpted the ecosystem. It's hard to comprehend their scale until you place yourself there. Imagine standing at the foot of one, looking up. Its shoulder alone is taller than your house. Its head sways far above, framed by shafts of sunlight, almost too high to see clearly. And yet, for all their size, they move with a strange gentleness. Like ocean liners gliding across a still harbor. Where there are giants, there is always risk. Smaller dinosaurs linger at their feet, scavenging scraps of plants, picking through fallen branches. But danger can come at any moment. In the underbrush, predators wait, smaller than the sauropods, but still deadly. Allosaurus, their jaws lined with serrated teeth, follow silently. They do not attack the giants directly. Instead, they wait. For the vulnerable, a calf straying too far, or an old, weakened giant struggling to keep pace. The forest is a place of shadows and opportunities. Every sound echoes differently here. A snapping branch could be just a falling limb, or a predator shifting position. The sauropods know this. They stay together, their sheer size and unity their greatest defense. But it is not just predators that challenge them. The forest itself is alive with hazards. Tangled roots, sudden bogs, even trees collapsing under their own weight. These are dangers as real as claws or teeth. Yet the sauropods endure, their lives measured not in years, but in decades. Slow, steady, unstoppable. Above, the canopy explodes with life. Pterosaurs swoop between the branches, their wings beating in quick bursts as they search for insects or fish from nearby streams. Birds, true ancestors of the modern kind, flit from branch to branch, their songs adding a strange music to the deep hush of the forest. Their presence is subtle, but it marks the beginning of a new age, where feathers and flight would become as important as size and strength. On the forest floor, smaller herbivores scuttle through the ferns. Hypsilophodans, quick, rabbit-sized. Dinosaurs dart between shadows, nibbling low plants. Their survival depends on speed. They freeze at the faintest vibration, vanishing into the undergrowth with a flick of their tails before danger even appears. In a world dominated by giants, they have carved out a place by becoming ghosts of the forest, But perhaps the most mesmerizing sight in this forest is not the dinosaurs themselves, but the forest breathing around them. Imagine the sounds. The groan of branches bending under the weight of long necks, the rhythmic chewing of leaves, the soft hiss of insects filling the air. Every now and then, a tree crashes down, shaking the ground as if thunder has struck, leaving behind a gap of sunlight where new plants will race to grow. This is the cycle. Giants feed, trees fall, new life rises. And so the forest thrives, endless and eternal. There is a moment, though, when silence grips the forest. A hush so complete, it feels unnatural. The birds stop calling, the insects fall quiet. Even the sauropods pause. And then, it comes a roar. Not the sharp cry of a small predator, but a deep, resonant call that rolled through the forest like thunder. Allosur. Its voice echoes between the trees, bouncing from trunk to trunk, magnified by the natural walls of the forest. For a moment, the world feels tense, every creature listening, calculating. The sauropods do not run, they cannot. They stand firm, tails lifted, necks arched high, a show of strength against whatever dares to approach. The forest holds its breath. Leaves tremble, the roar fades, and slowly, life resumes. The predators are there, always, but the giants endure. Their size alone is a shield, and the forest bows around them, making space for their passing. As the day fades, the forest transforms again. Shafts of light slant through the trees, turning the air golden. The sauropods move toward open clearings, where they can rest without the constant press of shadows. Smaller dinosaurs settle in burrows or nests. The calls of nocturnal hunters begin to rise, and as night falls, the forest glows faintly with life. Fireflies drift between ferns. The stars above shimmer through breaks in the canopy. And the giants, those living mountains, stand silhouetted against the starlight, their breaths rising in clouds, their tails curled around them like walls of living muscle. The forest belongs to them, it always has. And as long as they walk among the trees, the land itself bends to their will. The giants are not just part of the forest. They are the forest. Chapter 5. The Hidden Valley, the land of dinosaurs, was filled with extremes, vast deserts, endless forests, thundering plains. But every now and then, the earth carved out places that remained almost untouched. Tucked away behind ridges of stone, cut off by rivers and cliffs, were hidden valleys. Places where life followed a quieter rhythm. Imagine walking into one of these valleys millions of years ago. At first, you'd see only rock walls rising on all sides, their faces cracked and lined by time. But then the view opens. Before you lies a world that seems to hold its breath, a calm green basin cradled in stone. A stream trickles down from the cliffs, feeding a small lake at the valley floor. Ferns stretch thick across the ground, and trees bend inward, as if protecting the secrets inside. The air is still, heavy with the scent of wet plants and earth warmed by the sun. This is no place for giants. The colossal sauropods and the roaring tyrannosaurs seldom tread here. The paths are too narrow, the spaces too confined. Instead, this is a sanctuary for the small, the overlooked, the creatures that usually vanish into the shadows of larger stories. At the water's edge, a group of Hypsilophodon, little two-legged herbivores, barely the size of turkeys, gather to drink. Their heads twitch nervously, eyes wide, always scanning. Their bodies are built for speed, light and agile, ready to dart into the ferns at the slightest sign of danger. They nibble at low plants, squeaking softly, their movements quick and bird-like. Nearby, Protoceratops graze in family groups. These early relatives of Triceratops are small, no bigger than pigs, but their beaked faces and little frills give them a dignified look. They nose through the undergrowth, their claws scraping at roots, their quiet calls echoing against the cliffs. Their young stumble between the legs of adults, learning the language of survival in this sheltered world. And in the trees above, the shadows flutter. Tiny feathered dinosaurs, microraptors, leap from branch to branch, their wings gliding them short distances like flying squirrels. Their feathers catch the sunlight, flashing with iridescent colors. They chatter in sharp little calls, keeping the forest alive with sound. The hidden valley hums with life, but it is a softer hum than the outside world. No thunder of herds, no earth-shaking roars. Here, survival depends on quickness, caution, and community. Every sound matters. A snapping twig, a ripple on the lake, the distant cry of a pterosaur passing overhead. Each one can signal a shift between safety and danger. Predators are here too, but they are not the giants of the plains. In the shadows lurk small hunters like Truden. Bright-eyed, intelligent, they move with patient steps, their heads tilted as if always listening. At night, their large eyes catch the faintest light, giving them an advantage in the dark. One stalks silently through the ferns, watching a group of Hypsilophodon. It waits, it calculates. Then, a burst of speed. The little herd scatters in panic, their feet drumming the ground. Dust rises, squeals echo. And just like that, the valley reminds its residents that peace and danger are always side by side. But even in moments of tension, there is beauty. At dusk, the valley glows. The cliffs trap the last of the sunlight, painting the stone in shades of amber and rose. The lake reflects the sky, rippling with gold and silver as insects skim the surface. A flock of small pterosaurs circle overhead, their wings catching the fading light, turning them into silhouettes against the sky. And then, as the air cools, sound takes over. Crickets sing in thick choruses. Frogs croak from the shallows. Somewhere in the trees, a dinosaur calls, a long, low note that seems to hang in the air like the valley's heartbeat. Night falls, and the hidden valley does not sleep. Fireflies blink between the ferns. Nocturnal dinosaurs stir, slipping from burrows and shadows to hunt under the stars. The Trudens roam more boldly now, their eyes gleaming. Microraptors flutter like ghosts between branches, barely visible except for the glimmer of feathers under moonlight. It feels almost unreal, as if time slows in this place, and the outside world fades away. The hidden valley is more than a refuge. It is a reminder that the age of dinosaurs was not only about giants clashing on open plains. It was also about the quiet persistence of the small, the overlooked, the survivors who lived in the shadows of titans but thrived in worlds of their own. One day the valley itself will vanish. Erosion will tear down the cliffs. Rivers will change their course. Ash or ice may bury it forever. But for a time, for millions of years, it is a sanctuary, a living secret kept from the noise and violence beyond its walls. And perhaps, when we look at fossils of the tiniest creatures, we are hearing whispers of such places. Valleys where dinosaurs lived lives unnoticed by history's spotlight, but no less real, no less meaningful. The hidden valley may be gone, but in its silence, it still speaks. Chapter 6, Wings in the Twilight. The day begins to fade, and with it, the world changes. The sun sinks low, spilling golden light across the prehistoric earth. The shadows stretch long, bending across ferns and rock. The air cools, the forest hum softens. And then, above the trees, movement stirs. At first, it's only a flicker. A shadow sliding across the canopy, then another. Shapes against the sun. Wings, vast and ancient, beating slowly as they carry their owners into the twilight sky. This is their hour. The pterosaurs, the rulers of the evening air. They rise effortlessly, catching the thermals that drift upward from the warming earth. Their wings stretch wide, thin membranes of skin and muscle supported by impossibly long fingers. With each glide, they carve arcs of grace across the horizon. Some are small, no larger than a crow. Others, like Quetzalcoatlus, dwarf even the largest birds of today. Wingspans stretching farther than two cars parked end to end. Imagine standing below as one passes overhead. Its shadow falls across you, silent and fleeting, like a ghost skimming the ground. Its body tilts, wings shifting with perfect precision to ride the wind. It does not flap often, it doesn't need to. The sky itself carries it forward. But pterosaurs are not alone in this hour. Among them, feathered shapes dart and wheel. Early birds, Archaeopteryx, Anchiornis, Confuciusornis, take to the air. Their wings, though smaller and less refined, beat quickly, flashing feathers in bursts of color. They are clumsy compared to the gliding masters, but there is something new here, something different. These creatures are not only gliders, they are flyers in their own right, testing the skies. With each determined wing beat, where the pterosaurs rule the open heights, the birds dance in the lower canopy. They swoop between branches, chasing insects. They cling to bark with clawed wings, leap and flutter into the air again. Their calls are sharper, more musical, cutting through the steady rush of the evening breeze. For the first time in Earth's story, the skies hold more than one vision of flight. Twilight is the perfect time for this spectacle. The sun paints the clouds in shades of crimson and violet. The wings above catch the colors, turning them into living silhouettes framed against fire and shadow. To stand in that ancient dusk is to witness a sky alive with movement, with possibility. Down below, the larger dinosaurs pause to watch. Sauropods lift their heads, eyes following the shapes as they pass. Predators glance upward briefly, before returning to their silent stalks. Even the smallest creatures seem to notice. Their calls shift. Their activity slows, as if the world knows the sky belongs to wings now. And in that moment, the earth feels suspended, balanced between day and night, land and sky, old and new. Pterosaurs descend toward the cliffs, folding their wings like great sails. Some land on ledges, talons gripping stone. Others wade into shallow water, stabbing at fish with long needle-like jaws. Their wings drag ripples across the surface as they feed, turning the lake into a canvas of silver lines. Nearby, the birds settle in clusters. They roost on low branches, chattering softly, fluffing their feathers against the cool air. Some still dart out for insects, their silhouettes flashing quickly before vanishing back into the trees. Their songs, though simple, bring a new texture to the prehistoric soundscape, not the deep roars of giants, but delicate voices rising with the twilight. It is a reminder that even in a world of colossus and terror, there was gentleness too, but twilight also carries a sense of mystery. Above the cliffs, the largest pterosaurs circle slowly, almost invisible now against the darkening sky. They seem eternal, like drifting stars. Their wings whisper as they pass overhead, a sound so faint it could be the wind itself. Were you standing there, you might not know whether to feel awe or unease, for what is flight if not freedom? And what is dusk if not a threshold between what we know and what waits unseen? As darkness deepens, the last colors bleed from the horizon. The sky turns indigo. The stars blink awake, distant and cold. The pterosaurs retreat to their cliffs, folding themselves into silence. The birds tuck their heads beneath their wings, safe among the branches, and the land below exhales. No longer watched from above, the ground dwellers step cautiously into the night. The air is cooler, the world darker, and the sky for now quiet. Yet if you listen closely, you can still hear it. The echo of wings, the soft beat of twilight flight, lingering in the memory of the earth. Because for that brief suspended hour, the world belonged not to tooth or claw, but to wings. And in their twilight, they wrote the first lines of a story that would one day become our own. Chapter 7. The Silent Hunt. The forest is still. Evening has passed, and night has taken hold. The shadows are no longer long, they are endless. The canopy overhead closes in, blotting out much of the sky. Only fragments of starlight filter through, glimmering on leaves that sway gently in. The breeze, the silence is deceptive. It feels heavy, almost absolute. But if you wait long enough, you realize it is not silence at all. It is a canvas, stretched wide and dark, upon which the faintest sounds are painted. The chirr of an insect, the distant ripple of water, the shifting of a branch. Each noise is faint, almost swallowed by the night, but together they form a rhythm. And moving through this rhythm is a figure, slow, careful, patient. A predator. This is the silent hunt, the art of killing without being heard. The patient. Stalker. Not all prehistoric hunters relied on sheer size or raw speed. Some of the most dangerous depended on patience, cunning, and silence. Picture a troodontid, one of the cleverest of the dinosaurs, its brain large for its body, its senses finely tuned. Its feathers ruffle softly in the breeze as it lowers itself into the undergrowth. Its eyes, wide, luminous, catching even the faintest light, sweep the clearing ahead. Every muscle is still. Only its breath moves, and even that is shallow. It waits. Minutes pass. The forest seems unaware of its presence. Small mammals scurry at the base of a tree, nibbling seeds in the leaf litter. A bird-like dinosaur hops across the ferns, snapping at moths drawn to moonlight. All of them are unaware of the danger lying just meters away. The troodontid tilts its head. Its foot twitches. Slowly, ever so slowly, it begins to advance. Its toes lift and set down without sound, pressing into the moss-like shadows, pressing into stone. Its tail stiffens, counterbalancing each movement, a living gyroscope ensuring balance and silence. This is not the chase of a cheetah or the ambush of a crocodile. This is something else entirely, a ghost in feathers slipping closer until the closer world itself seems not to notice that the language of silence is not emptiness. It is communication. For predators of the ancient world, it was survival. A broken twig could send prey scattering. A misplaced step could turn a meal into starvation. Silent hunt was not just about killing. It was about becoming invisible. Imagine a dromaeosaur, a relative of Velociraptor. Its body is built for agility, feathers cloaking its arms and tail, claws curved like scythes. But before the leap, before the slash, there's always this moment of waiting, of silence, of calculation. The dromaeosaur listens. It feels the vibrations of the earth through its limbs. It knows the difference between wind in the leaves and the shuffle of prey. This is the part of hunting we rarely imagine. Not the dramatic attack, but the hours, sometimes days, of near motionless patience. It is here, in the stillness, that survival is truly decided. The nocturnal world at night, the prehistoric world, belonged to the quiet ones. Herbivores moved in herds, but carefully, nervously. Their calls were muted, their ears straining for danger. Small dinosaurs foraged beneath the ferns, knowing that sound could mean death. The predators thrived in this quiet. Their senses sharpened in the dark. Many may have seen in low light, their eyes wide like modern owls. Some may have hunted by sound, ears twitching to catch the faintest rustle. Others may have even used smell, the air itself guiding them toward life. Think of the troodontids again, wide-eyed feathered hunters no larger than a human. They slip between trees, their claws glinting faintly. They are not roaring, not charging. They are listening, tasting the night air, learning the landscape. By its silence. In this world, the greatest weapon was not strength. It was restraint. A hunt remembered. Let us imagine one hunt. A herd of small plant-eaters grazes in a clearing. They move in a tight cluster, their heads lowering and lifting nervously, nostrils flaring as they pull at ferns. The night is quiet, but tense, every shadow a possible threat. Unseen in the brush, a predator lies waiting. Its body is low, its breath steady. It inches forward, inch by inch, until it is just at the edge of the clearing. Still, it does not attack. It waits. Its eyes fix on one animal, the smallest, the slowest. The herd shifts, moving closer. One step, two, and then silence breaks. A single leap. A blur of feathers. A cry of alarm shatters the clearing. The herd scatters in panic, crashing into trees, their calls echoing through the night. But the predator has already struck. Its claws dig in. Its jaws clamp tight. And just as suddenly as it began, the hunt is over. Silence returns, but it is not the same. It is heavier now. The air carries the memory of violence, of life ending in the dark. And yet, for the predator, it is survival. Lessons in the dark. The silent hunt teaches us something profound about the prehistoric world. It was not a place of endless chaos and noise, as films often show. It was a place of tension, of balance, of silence punctuated by sudden bursts of violence. Most of life in the Mesozoic was spent waiting, watching, listening. Dinosaurs lived in a world where being loud could mean being dead, where patience was as important as power, and in that, perhaps, they were not so different from the predators we know today. Leopards stalking through grass, owls gliding silently above fields, crocodiles floating just below the water's surface. The art of silence is timeless. The predator's ghost, as night deepens, the forest grows colder. Mist rises from the ground, curling around tree trunks like smoke. Somewhere, a distant call echoes, low, mournful, unanswered. But here, in the undergrowth, a hunter moves once more. Its feathers brush leaves without sound. Its eyes glow faintly, reflecting starlight. It steps, pauses, tilts its head. It waits. It listens. It is not rushing. It is not hungry in this single moment. It is eternal, like the silence itself. A ghost passing through the world, seen only in glimpses, remembered only in tracks left behind. And when it strikes, it will not be with fury or spectacle. It will be with precision, with calm, with silence, because in the age of dinosaurs, the most dangerous sound of all was the one you never heard. Closing reflection as we leave this chapter of the ancient night. Carry the silence with you. Imagine the hush of the prehistoric forest, the weight of every shadow, the tension of every still breath. Not every dinosaur roared. Not every predator thundered across the earth. Some whispered through the darkness. Some killed in silence. And some, perhaps the most haunting of all, left no sound, no cry, no warning. Only the memory of the hunt, echoing in the stillness of the ancient night. Chapter 8. Footprints in the sand. The sun is low. A riverbed stretches wide, its banks cracked and dry under the heat of an ancient day. The wind drifts lazily, carrying the scent of wet clay where water once flowed. And there, across the sand, is a path. A trail pressed deep into the earth, left not by time itself, but by life. A footprint. And another still. Each one shaped with perfect precision, toes spread, claws sharp, the weight of the animal captured forever in stone. These are not just marks. They are stories. Every track is a sentence. Every trail is a paragraph. And together, they form a book written across the landscape, telling us about lives lived and moments long gone, frozen. Sauri's fossils capture bodies, bones, teeth, even feathers. But footprints capture something else entirely, moments. A dinosaur's skeleton tells us what it was. Its trackway tells us what it did. Imagine a long trail stretching across a mud flat. A line of three-toed prints, perfectly spaced. Each step lands at the same distance, the stride steady. From this we can read, this dinosaur was walking calmly, not rushing, not hunting. Perhaps it was moving with others. Perhaps it was following a path to water. Now imagine another trail. The prints closer together, the toes digging deeper, the stride uneven. This was no calm walk, this was a run. Something startled the animal, something sent it fleeing. And millions of years later, the fear remains etched into stone. Herds in motion, some of the most breathtaking discoveries, are not of single footprints, but of entire herds moving together. Whole families of dinosaurs, their paths weaving in parallel. Their steps rising and falling in rhythm. Picture it, a group of sauropods, long-necked giants, walking slowly across a muddy riverbank. The adults' footprints sink deep, forming craters in the clay. Beside them, smaller prints skip lightly, the young ones, following closely, never straying far. We can almost hear them, the groan of the giants, the chirps of the little ones. The herd is alive again in our imagination, moving across an ancient plain. Not through bones, not through imagination alone, but through the tracks they left behind. Every footprint is proof of presence, proof of life, proof that once they were. Here, a predator's chase, but not all footprints tell peaceful stories. Some capture drama, frozen scenes of life and death. One fossil site revealed the trail of a plant eater, its steps long and hurried, claws digging into the earth as it ran. Behind it, another trail appears, narrower, sharper, the stride longer. Faster, a predator. Two sets of tracks, one fleeing, one pursuing. No bones were found there, no final outcome preserved. But the story is undeniable, a chase stamped into stone. The hunter and the hunted, locked together in a race that ended millions of years before we ever arrived. And isn't that haunting? The outcome unknown, the ending lost. We stand on the very ground where it happened, staring at the marks left behind, wondering if the prey escaped or if the predator fed. The fragility of memory tracks are fragile things. They are made in mud and sand, in the softest parts of the earth. For them to survive, a perfect storm must happen. Rain must fall to soften the ground. The animal must pass at just the right moment. Then, the mud must dry quickly, preserving the shape. Later, more layers of sediment must cover it, shielding it from time until stone locks it away. What are the chances of all this happening? Almost none. And yet, enough tracks survive that we can now walk across ancient riverbeds and beaches, following trails that are older than mountains. Think of that for a moment. You could place your foot inside the footprint of a dinosaur, step where it stepped, match your stride to its. Time collapses in an instant. Millions of years vanish. And it feels as though you are walking beside it. Footprints of the small, not all tracks belong to giants. Some of the most delicate come from the smallest of dinosaurs. Tiny three-toed marks, no larger than your hand, skittering across ancient sands. Perhaps left by feathered hunters no bigger than a crow. Or prints like little starbursts, left by early birds hopping and flapping along a shoreline. They tell us of a bustling world, not just of titans and predators, but of the small and the fragile. The ones who rarely survive in the fossil record, yet whose lives were just as rich. Their steps remind us that the age of dinosaurs was not a stage for giants alone. It was a world filled with countless tiny feet, moving through forests and riverbanks, leaving whispers of their presence behind. The lasting impression: there is something poetic in footprints. Bones are final. They speak of death. But tracks? Tracks speak of life and motion. Of a moment when the world was alive, when the ground was soft, when an animal pressed its weight into the earth and carried on. The body is gone. The flesh is dust. The bones may never have been preserved, but the step remains. A gesture frozen forever, and in that, perhaps, there is something deeply human. Because when we look at a dinosaur's footprint, we are not staring at death. We are staring at a memory, a moment when it lived, when it moved, when it simply was. Closing reflection. So, the next time you imagine dinosaurs, do not only picture the skeletons in museums or the roaring beasts in films. Picture the footprints, quiet, fragile, forgotten. Left in sand, pressed in mud, sealed by time. Imagine walking across a dry riverbed and finding not bones, but paths. Trails that twist and turn, that vanish into stone. Trails that tell of hunts, of herds, of families, of fear. Because in the end, dinosaurs did not just leave behind their bones, they left behind their steps. And through those steps, they walk beside us still, across the hidden valleys, the forgotten lagoons, and the ancient sands of a world long gone. Chapter 9, Songs of the Night. The sun sinks behind the horizon, and the world changes. Day belonged to giants, the thunder of footsteps, the roar of herds, the clash of predators and prey. But night was different. When darkness spread its veil across the ancient earth, life shifted. The forest floor, once lit by burning light, grew quiet. A hush settled, thick as smoke, as the last streaks of red faded into black. And then, slowly, carefully, the night began to sing. It was not the kind of music we know today. There were no crickets as we hear them now, no owls perched on branches. Instead, it was a chorus older, stranger, softer. A soundscape stitched together from insects, amphibians, reptiles, and dinosaurs themselves. The night had its own orchestra, one you could not see, only feel. The insect choir, it begins small. In the grass, wings rub against wings. A high whispering trill drifts upward, almost hidden in the stillness. Ancient insects, ancestors of today's katydids and cicadas, filled the dark with vibration. Some produced deep, droning hums that seemed to roll across the forest floor. Others sent out quick, pulsing chirps, sharp as sparks in the silence. Together, they formed a wall of sound. Not loud, but constant, steady, like a heartbeat beneath the night. Imagine it, a vast, endless hum, a shimmering backdrop against which every other sound played out. The insect choir was the foundation of the prehistoric nocturne, a reminder that even in darkness, life never truly slept. The frogs in the water's edge move closer to the rivers, and the song changes. Here, the voices are deeper, wetter, full of rhythm. Frogs and amphibians, their throats swelling, calling to one another in tones that ripple like liquid. Some croak low and guttural, vibrating through the mud. Others sing in rapid bursts like laughter echoing across the reeds. These calls bounce off the water, amplified by still ponds and rippling streams. To stand at the edge of a Mesozoic swamp at night would be to stand inside a chamber of echoes. The air would vibrate with sound, each splash of a leaping amphibian adding a note to the song. And somewhere beyond, hidden in the reeds, other creatures listened, small mammals, lizards, even dinosaurs themselves, ears pricked to the rhythm. Of the dark, the dinosaurs speak, but the most haunting voices of all belong to the dinosaurs. We often imagine them as silent, or else roaring like in films. But paleontology suggests a quieter truth. Many dinosaurs likely lacked vocal cords like ours. Instead, they may have produced sounds the way birds do today, through resonating chambers, deep in their bodies. Picture a hadrosaur, one of the great duck-billed dinosaurs. Hollow crests crowned their heads, strange and beautiful shapes. These were not just ornaments, they were instruments. As air flowed through them, the crests turned breath into music. Low, resonant calls that could carry for miles. At night, when the world was hushed, these calls would roll across the landscape, deep, echoing notes, vibrating through the earth itself. A hadrosaur's call was not a roar, it was a song, a low, mournful hum that lingered long after it ended. Now imagine a chorus of them, a herd gathered under starlight, their voices weaving together. A prehistoric choir, rising and falling, filling the night with sound that was part music, part mystery. Predators in the dark, not all calls were songs. Some were warnings. Some were weapons. Predators, too, had their voices. A raptor slipping through. The undergrowth might hiss, a sharp whisper meant to communicate with its pack. A larger predator, perhaps a tyrannosaur at the edge of the forest, might rumble low in its chest, a sound so deep it was more felt than heard. These were not the theatrical roars of cinema, but subtle tools, signals to packmates, warnings to rivals, threats in the dark. Think of the modern crocodile, rumbling low to claim its territory. Or the cassowary, its chest producing infrasound, notes too low for human ears, but powerful enough to vibrate through the ground. Dinosaurs may have done the same. Imagine lying awake in the Mesozoic night, feeling the earth tremble faintly beneath you, knowing a giant is near. The mammals stir. The age of dinosaurs was also the age of mammals. Small, shrew-like, almost invisible in daylight. But at night, they awoke. Soft squeaks, high-pitched clicks, faint rustles in the leaves. These were the sounds of survival. Small mammals searching for seeds, insects, or water, their movements hidden in the greater symphony of the night. Some may have even used primitive forms of echolocation, filling the dark with faint pulses of sound, guiding themselves through a world too vast for their size. Though their voices were quiet, they added texture. They were whispers in the choir, subtle and fleeting, yet vital to the music of the prehistoric dark. The ocean's night song far from the forests, another world sang. At night, the seas were alive with sound. Marine reptiles, ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs, mosasaurs, ruled the oceans. And though we may never know their voices for certain, we can imagine them based on their living relatives. Perhaps deep clicks and groans, like whales in today's seas, traveled across black waters. Perhaps the slap of fins, the rush of bubbles, the distant crack of jaws snapping shut on fish. Add to this the steady chorus of early fish and invertebrates, their bodies brushing, striking, vibrating in countless ways. The ocean at night was no less alive with sound than the forests, its music deeper, stranger, carried endlessly through the waves. A night hunt now. Picture this: a quiet clearing beneath a starry sky. The insect hum buzzes faintly. Frogs croak by a distant stream, and then silence. Something has changed. The night holds its breath. Through the ferns, a small plant-eating dinosaur freezes, its ears flicking. The background song is gone. Only the faintest sound remains. A low rustle, a shift of weight, a predator moving silently through the brush. And then, breaking the silence, comes the cry, sharp, panicked, rising high into the night. A call of alarm, piercing the dark, scattering the insects, silencing the frogs. The predator strikes, and the night song shatters, but only for a moment. When the struggle ends, when the forest settles, the insects begin again. The frogs return. The distant hadrosaur hums once more. The night repairs its music as if nothing happened. Life goes on. The song resumes, echoes across time. The songs of the night are gone now. The dinosaurs are gone. The hadrosaurs silent. The insects changed. Yet traces remain. Modern frogs, insects, and birds carry echoes of their ancient ancestors. The deep rumble of a cassowary, the resonant boom of a bittern bird, the drone of cicadas in summer. These may be the last fragments of a lost orchestra. When you listen to the forest at night, you are hearing something timeless. Not the exact voices of the Mesozoic, but their descendants. The song never stopped. It only changed. Closing reflection. Close your eyes. Imagine standing in that ancient darkness. The air is thick with scent and heat. The stars are brighter than you've ever seen. And around you, the night is alive. The insects hum. The frogs call. The mammals squeak and scurry. A hadrosaur sings low and mournful, its crest turning air into music. Somewhere, far off, the ground trembles with the warning rumble of a predator. This was not a silent world. This was a world of voices, a world of rhythm and harmony, of calls and replies, of sounds woven together into a tapestry that stretched across continents. The songs of the night were not just sounds. They were life itself, humming softly through the dark. And though the dinosaurs are gone, The song continues, carried in every rustle of leaves, every chirp, every call that fills our nights today. Chapter 10. Shadows of Ice and Fire. The Earth has always been a restless planet. Beneath our feet, plates grind and shift. Volcanoes breathe fire into the sky. At the edges of the world, darkness lingers for months, and cold winds carve at the bones of living things. For dinosaurs, survival was never simple. It was not just about escaping teeth or claws, it was about enduring a world that changed in sudden, brutal ways. Tonight we journey into those forgotten extremes, into the shadows of ice and fire. Imagine a valley at the bottom of the world, where the sun barely rises above the horizon. A place locked in winter, not for days or weeks, but for months at a time. This was the land of the polar dinosaurs. Far from the tropical image you might picture when you hear the word dinosaur, these creatures thrived in places where snow fell, rivers froze, and the stars ruled the sky. In Australia and Antarctica, paleontologists have unearthed fossils that tell a startling story. Small, bird-like herbivores called Dinosaurs lived here, their large eyes adapted to piercing the gloom. Think about that for a moment. Dinosaurs with night vision, navigating through forests cloaked in darkness. Entire herds huddled together. In the cold, their breath rising in clouds, their lives synchronized to a rhythm of light and shadow few animals today could endure. Can you imagine walking among them? The crunch of frozen ferns beneath clawed feet, the silence broken only by the soft snorts of dinosaurs moving cautiously through the trees. Above, the southern lights shimmered across the night sky, an otherworldly glow dancing over a prehistoric Earth. But the cold was not the only challenge. Let's leave the icy forests behind and travel to another extreme one of fire. Picture vast landscapes of volcanic plains, where the ground shook without warning and the air grew heavy with ash. In the heart of the Mesozoic, volcanic activity was relentless. Eruptions could darken skies for weeks. Rivers turned black with soot. Dinosaurs, massive and small, had to adapt or perish. Some, like the mighty sauropods, trudged across lands blanketed in ash, their immense bodies stirring gray clouds with every step. Others sought refuge near rivers, hoping the water would carry away the choking dust. And predators, with their keen senses dulled by haze, found hunting more dangerous, their prey hidden in a smoky twilight. Now imagine both extremes colliding, the icy silence of polar night and the fiery roar of volcanoes. Dinosaurs were not simply rulers of a lush green paradise. They were survivors in worlds that tested the very limits of endurance. Let's step back into the frozen south for a moment. Fossils suggest that during the long polar winters, dinosaurs, like Dinosaurs and their relatives, did not simply migrate away. They stayed, they endured. Scientists debate how. Some believe they slowed their metabolism, much like hibernating animals today. Others think they dug burrows or relied on thick coats of feathers to trap heat. The truth may be a combination of all these strategies. What is certain is that these little dinosaurs were not fragile creatures. They were hardy survivors. Picture a family of them, huddled in a shallow den. Outside, snow drifts against the trees. The wind howls. Yet inside they are safe, pressed together for warmth. A parent shifts, keeping a watchful eye on the entrance, ears pricked for any sound of danger. Somewhere in the distance, a predator moves, a theropod adapted to the dark, padding silently across the frozen ground. But it passes by, the den hidden, the family spared. The scene feels almost human, doesn't it? Families protecting one another, waiting for spring. But for these dinosaurs, this was not an occasional hardship, it was life, now. Shift your imagination thousands of miles north, to where fire rules instead of ice. The sky glows orange, not from the setting sun, but from rivers of lava spilling across the land. Ash rains down, coating leaves, suffocating rivers. In this inferno, A herd of ceratopsians horned dinosaurs with frills like shields struggles forward. They cough, they stumble, their young pressed close to the safety of the herd. Somewhere behind them, a predator watches, but even it hesitates. Hunting in this choking haze is as deadly as hunger itself. Volcanic winters, caused by eruptions throwing ash and gas into the upper atmosphere, may have cooled the planet for years at a time. Dinosaurs, like all life, were forced into cycles of feast and famine, warmth and bitter cold. And yet, they adapted. They found ways to endure, shaping their bodies, behaviors, and even migrations to the rhythms of fire and frost. Can you picture the resilience that took? To face not just predators, not just the daily struggle for food, but the very wrath of the planet itself, and to keep going. The Earth itself was the greatest hunter of all, and yet, dinosaurs thrived for over 160 million years. Longer than mammals have ruled, longer than humans have even existed. The shadows of ice and fire were not the end. They were merely chapters in a much larger story, but let's not rush. Stay in this world a little longer. Picture the silence after an eruption, when the ashes settled and the world feels muted. Imagine walking across a landscape where every step kicks up gray dust, where rivers run thick with mud, and where the charred trunks of trees stand like ghosts. In time, life always returned. Ferns pushed up through the ash, turning devastation into meadows. Insects swarmed, feeding the first herbivores to return. Slowly, the world healed, and in the south. When the long night ended, the forests came alive again. Light returned, streaming through branches heavy with new leaves. Dinosaurs emerged from their shelters, blinking in the brightness, stretching limbs stiff from cold. The great cycle began anew. These extremes, ice and fire, were not the edges of life, they were its crucibles. They forged creatures of astonishing resilience. They sculpted dinosaurs into survivors, not just rulers. And as we reflect on their world, we realize something profound. Earth itself has always been a place of change, of challenge, of trial. And every creature past and present owes its existence to the ability to adapt. Dinosaurs remind us of that truth. So the next time you think of them, don't picture just lush jungles or endless plains. Picture the shadows of ice and fire. Picture herds moving under auroras in a frozen night. Picture ash clouds blotting out the sun as horns and frills cut through the haze. Picture life enduring, always enduring, because that is the true story of the dinosaurs. Chapter 11. When giants dream, the night had fallen upon the ancient world. A hush descended across the land where, only hours before, the sun had bathed the plains in gold and warmth. Now the earth rested beneath a silver veil of moonlight, and the stars blinked across the heavens like scattered diamonds. In this quiet darkness, the giants of the prehistoric world lay still, their vast bodies rising and falling with slow breaths. For more than 160 million years, dinosaurs had ruled the earth with strength, resilience, and diversity beyond imagination. But in this moment, in the stillness of night, they were not rulers or survivors. They were simply living beings, asleep, surrendering to the mystery of dreams. And so, we begin to wonder, when giants closed their eyes, what did they dream? Perhaps they dreamed in silence, the way whales and elephants today drift in slumber, carried by memory and instinct. Perhaps their dreams were fleeting sparks, shadows of movement, echoes of sounds, fragments of worlds they had walked through. Or perhaps, just like us, they dreamed of life itself, of food, of safety, of companionship, of journeys yet to come. Let us walk quietly, softly, into their dreamscapes. The dream of the sauropod. Far out on the moonlit plain lies a gentle colossus. A sauropod, immense beyond comprehension. Its neck stretches like a living tower, but tonight its head is lowered to the ground, its body curled slightly, chest rumbling with slow tidal breaths. As it sleeps, its dreams may unfurl like endless Horizons. It has spent its waking hours browsing treetops, wandering across wide plains, migrating with others of its kind in search of food and water. But in its dreams, the journey may become infinite. Perhaps the sauropod dreams of walking forever. The stars, each step echoing across the earth like a heartbeat. It feels no hunger here, no exhaustion, only peace. The trees bow to its passing, rivers part around its feet. The wind drapes its skin with coolness. In this dream, the colossus is weightless. Its bulk, so immense in reality, becomes effortless. It floats through memory, recalling a time when it was young, smaller, more vulnerable, moving in the protective shadow of its mother. The dream carries it from past to present, from earth to sky. And maybe, just maybe, it dreams of things no sauropod could ever see: mountains of fire, seas stretching beyond the horizon, storms of light dancing in the upper sky. Dreams often weave the impossible. And who is to say these giants did not dream beyond their world? The dream of the hunter elsewhere, a predator sleeps. Its claws are tucked beneath its body, its long tail curled around for balance. By day, it is a shadow of terror, stalking quietly through the brush, patient and clever. But in sleep, its hunt continues in silence. The hunter dreams of motion. It sees prey darting across an open field, and it surges forward with perfect timing. Its dream body feels no fatigue, no hunger. It never misses, never fails. In its dream, it is the embodiment of grace and certainty. But sometimes, the dream shifts. The predator becomes prey. Shadows larger than itself loom over it. Thunder shakes the ground. It flees as fear fills its chest. Perhaps even the fiercest hunters knew the helplessness of nightmares, the ancient echo of survival written deep within their blood. For in the world of dreams, roles can change. The hunter may run beside its prey, not chasing but moving together. United by instinct, the chase becomes a dance, a rhythm of speed and survival, until both fade into darkness. At the dream of the herd, across a riverbank, a herd of hadrosaurs rests. Their duck-billed heads are lowered, their young pressed close to the safety of mothers. The night is thick with the hum of insects and the distant calls of nocturnal creatures. As they sleep, the herd dreams not as individuals, but as one. Their lives are bound together by migration, long journeys across plains, forests, and river valleys. In dreams, those migrations never end. They march endlessly beneath a sky painted with shifting light. The ground never dries, food never disappears, predators never interrupt. Young ones may dream of the comfort of walking in the center, surrounded on all sides by the strong legs of adults. The adults may dream of paths remembered from long ago, rivers crossed, mountains passed. And perhaps their dreams are a kind of memory passed from generation to generation. A subconscious map of survival. To dream is to rehearse life itself. And the herd's dreams may be a quiet preparation for journeys yet to come. The dream of the sky above the cliffs, pterosaurs roost. Their wings fold neatly around their bodies, their thin crests silhouetted in the moonlight. As the earth sleeps below, perhaps their dreams take them back to the skies. They dream of endless flight, wings stretched wide, air rushing past, the world falling away beneath. In waking life, storms may batter them, winds may break them, predators may pursue them. But in dreams, flight is eternal. They glide over oceans without tiring, over mountains without fear. Perhaps they dream of colors, the fiery red of dawn, the deep indigo of twilight, the shimmer of scales in the sun. Their eyes, keen in waking life, may conjure dreamscapes, more vivid than we can imagine. In their sleep, pterosaurs may return to the first moment of flight, the leap from the cliff, the drop into nothing, the sudden lift of air beneath their wings. A leap repeated again and again, always ending in soaring freedom. Do dinosaurs dream? Science offers us glimpses, but no certainties. Today, many animals dream. Dogs twitch in their sleep, running silently across dream fields. Cats bat at unseen prey. Birds flutter their wings as though taking off. Even reptiles show sleep cycles, suggesting a capacity for dreaming. If they dream, then why not dinosaurs? They were no less alive, no less complex. Their brains held memory, instinct, fear, and comfort. Their lives demanded awareness, survival, learning. And where there is memory, there may be dreams. Perhaps the sauropod dreamed of forests past. Perhaps the predator dreamed of the hunt. Perhaps the herd dreamed of paths ahead. We cannot know. But it is enough to imagine. The last dream, and so the night deepens. The giants breathe in rhythm with the earth. Their slumber vast and eternal. Stars pass silently overhead, as if watching. The moon drifts slowly westward. The air cools, carrying the scent of rivers and forests. The world is still. In this stillness, the age of dinosaurs seems endless. Their reign stretches across millions of years, their lives woven into every corner of the planet. Yet time is relentless, even for giants. One day, their world will end. The final horizon will come. But for now, for this night, they sleep. And perhaps in their last dreams, they saw beyond themselves. Perhaps they dreamed of futures they could never know, of mammals rising, of birds carrying their legacy, of humans walking the same ground. Perhaps in some timeless way, they dreamed of us. The colossus shifts, sighs, and drifts deeper. The hunter curls tighter, twitching with phantom chase. The herd breathes in unison, a chorus of life. The pterosaurs fold into silence, their wings at rest. And across the ancient plain, a whisper seems to rise, the dreams of giants, dreams that carry them through the night, dreams that outlast their bones, dreams that echo still, in the stone, in the earth, in the stars. The giants sleep, and they dream, and with them, we drift into sleep too, carried softly, timelessly, into the silence of their world. Chapter 12. The Forgotten Lagoon. The land falls away. The roar of the ancient forests fades. And before us lies another world entirely, silent, moonlit, endless, beneath the silver surface of the sea, in a hidden lagoon untouched by storms. Life drifts in a rhythm as old as time. The water glows faintly under the light of the stars, its calm surface disturbed only by the ripples of creatures passing below. Here, in this forgotten place, the rulers of the land give way to the sovereigns of the sea. For millions of years, the oceans of the Mesozoic cradled giants every bit as extraordinary as the dinosaurs. They glided in silence, their bodies sculpted by water and time, their presence as mysterious as shadows in the deep. This is their story. A world beneath the waves. A dream that never truly ended. The silent descent. The lagoon is a sanctuary. Rock walls rise around it, shielding it from the open sea. The tide slips quietly through narrow channels, carrying with it currents from the vast ocean beyond. Within, the water is calm, almost still, as if time itself is slowed here. We descend into its depths. Sunlight no longer reaches this place, but the moonlight above filters in faintly, painting silver streaks across the surface. Below, the shapes of giants drift through the dark. The first shadow belongs to a plesiosaur, long-necked, graceful, its flippers moving in slow, steady strokes. It glides like a bird beneath the water, wings of flesh and bone slicing effortlessly through the lagoon. Its body is heavy, yet in water it floats with ease, carried by currents like a leaf in the wind. Nearby, a school of fish scatters as another shape approaches, an ichthyosaur, sleek as a dolphin, eyes large and luminous in the dim light. It moves with bursts of speed, twisting through the shoals, mouth opening wide to snap at its prey. Then, with a flick of its tail, it disappears back into the dark. These are not dinosaurs. They are something else entirely. Marine reptiles, descended from land dwellers, yet transformed by the ocean into forms perfectly built for a watery world. They are reminders that evolution never rests, never stops reshaping life. And here, in the lagoon, they drift like spirits. Plesiosaurs dream. Imagine the plesiosaur as it drifts in the dark water. Its long neck sways gently from side to side, scanning for movement. Fish dart before it, reflecting pale glimmers like sparks in the night. With a sudden lunge, it strikes, jaws snapping shut around its meal. But this lagoon offers more than food. It offers safety. Here, no great waves crash, no storms rage. The plesiosaur rests, its massive body hovering, weightless. Its eyes close. And perhaps, even here, it dreams. Does it dream of the open sea, where the horizon stretches forever, and the sun burns bright above? Does it dream of the hunt, the chase, the catch, the endless hunger? Or does it dream of something older still, a memory carried deep in its blood, a time when its ancestors walked upon the land, legs beneath? Them, not flippers? We cannot know. But as it drifts in the dark, the plesiosaur seems to belong to a world between worlds, neither land nor sea, but both, in its own forgotten way. The hunters of the deep, from the shadows comes another, larger, more formidable. The water stirs with its passing, a mosasaur. The ruler of the late Cretaceous seas, thought it moves like a living submarine, long, muscular, its jaws lined with teeth like ivory blades. Where plesiosaurs are graceful, mosasaurs are raw power. They were the apex predators of their world, capable of swallowing whole sharks, tearing apart other reptiles, and dominating every corner of the sea. Yet tonight, in this lagoon, even the mosasaur moves softly. It does not hunt. It does not strike. Instead, it glides through the calm water, weaving between rock spires and drifting schools of fish. Perhaps it is resting. Perhaps it is waiting. Or perhaps even this predator, so feared and fierce, finds peace in the quiet of the lagoon. Its eyes gleam faintly in the moonlight, filtering down from above. For a moment, it seems to watch the stars shimmering on the surface. A hunter, gazing at the unreachable. The lagoon at night, the night grows deeper. The lagoon becomes a world of whispers. Small creatures stir, ammonites drifting with spiral shells, jellyfish glowing faintly as if holding captured stars. Shoals of fish ripple like silver curtains through the water, each turn catching what little light remains. From the sand, a shadow rises, a giant turtle, its shell scarred from a lifetime of battles. Slowly, with calm strokes of its flippers, it rises to the surface, takes a long breath of air, and sinks back into the silence. All around, the ancient lagoon breathes. Its tides are slow, its voice is quiet, yet its life is abundant, hidden from the violence of the open ocean. Here, creatures gather not to fight, but to rest. It is a sanctuary, a forgotten lagoon. Do the oceans remember? As we drift among these creatures, a question arises: do oceans remember? The land preserves the past in stone, footprints, bones, the imprints of plants and shells pressed into rock. But the sea is harder. Bones sink, shells dissolve, tracks vanish into shifting sands. The ocean swallows history. And yet, in places like this lagoon, the past lingers. Fossils found in ancient seabeds reveal the truth. The plesiosaurs that once swam here, the ichthyosaurs that darted through shoals, the mosasaurs that ruled with teeth and power. They lived, they hunted, they thrived. The ocean remembers in silence, holding its stories in the deep. A world beneath the world above. The land belonged to dinosaurs, towering sauropods, swift raptors, armored tanks of flesh and bone. But below, another empire thrived. One just as diverse, just as powerful. Plesiosaurs, with their swan-like necks. Ichthyosaurs, the dolphins of the Mesozoic. Mosasaur kings, unstoppable and fierce. Turtles, fish, ammonites, sharks, an entire kingdom hidden in plain sight. Lagoon is a window into that kingdom, a place untouched where we can glimpse the calm between storms, the peace beneath the surface. It is a reminder that life does not only roar and clash, sometimes it drifts, glides, and whispers. The last ripple, the night begins to fade. A faint glow rises in the east, the first suggestion of dawn. The lagoon stirs as creatures prepare to move again, some toward the open sea, others deeper into the sanctuary. The plesiosaur rises for air, its long neck breaking the surface with barely a sound. The ichthyosaur darts once more through a cloud of fish. The mosasaur sinks into the shadows, vanishing like a ghost. Soon the sun will rise, the world will awaken. But for now, the lagoon holds its silence, a forgotten place, a secret world. A thin reminder that even in an age of giants, the quiet places mattered too. And so the story of the forgotten lagoon drifts into memory, a calm dream beneath the waves, where giants once swam in peace, and where the ocean still carries whispers of their passing. Chapter 13. Colors of a Lost World. When we picture dinosaurs, what colors come to mind? Often, the images we've inherited from films and books paint them in dull, muted tones. Browns, greys, greens, safe, earthy shades. Perhaps that seems logical. Fossils are stone gray, bones are pale, and the ancient world feels distant, muted by time. But nature rarely paints in monotones. Today, the living world glows with brilliance, the scarlet crest of a bird of paradise, the shimmering scales of a beetle, the stripes of a tiger melting into the grass. Why should dinosaurs, rulers of their world for over 160 million years, be any different? This is the story of their hidden beauty, the lost palette of a vanished world. The colors of dinosaurs dot the first clues. For generations, scientists could only guess. Fossils preserved bones, teeth, sometimes skin impressions, but not the pigments themselves. Color seemed lost forever, but in the early 21st century, something changed. Under powerful microscopes, researchers began finding microscopic structures. Inside fossilized feathers, melanosums, tiny, pigment-carrying organelles that survive millions of years. Their shapes matched those in modern birds, rod-like melanosums for black, round ones for browns, elongated ones for iridescent hues. Suddenly, dinosaurs had color again, not imagined, not guessed. Real. The first revelations came from small, feathered species like Sinosauropteryx, whose tail bore distinct rusty orange bands. Others, like Anchiornis, showed a surprising pattern, a body of black and gray feathers, white wings spotted like a magpie, and a fiery red crown upon its head. It was as if the past had burst back into vivid life. A world in patterns. Color is never just decoration. In nature, it serves a purpose. Some dinosaurs, like Psittacosaurus, bore muted shades across their backs but lighter bellies, classic camouflage, blending with forest shadows. This technique, called countershading, still protects deer, gazelles, and countless creatures today. But not all dinosaurs hid. Some displayed. Imagine Microraptor, with feathers that shimmered blue-black like a raven in sunlight. Its beauty may have played a role in courtship, a prehistoric dance of attraction beneath the trees. And then there were the giants. Skin impressions from hadrosaurs suggest scales patterned in mosaics, perhaps stripes, perhaps spots. We cannot yet assign their exact colors, but if today's reptiles are any guide, imagine ochres, deep greens, muted yellows, even flashes of orange. Herds of patterned giants moving across a floodplain would have been as visually stunning as a savanna, full of zebras or giraffes. The desert at dusk let us step into a vision, a desert plain 90 million years ago. The sun sets low, staining the horizon with gold and crimson. Across the sand, a herd of hadrosaurs moves slowly toward a river. From a distance, their bodies seem uniform, dusty, and brown. But as the light shifts, Patterns emerge, stripes. Running down their tails, darker shading across their backs, pale underbellies glowing in twilight. Youngsters move at the edges, their colors brighter, less faded with age. Perhaps these shades signaled maturity, health, or readiness to mate. Perhaps they were warnings to predators, messages written in color. The desert wind swirls dust into the air, and for a moment, the herd seems to vanish into the landscape. The colors were not only for beauty, they were survival itself. Language of color in the modern world. Color speaks many languages. The bright wings of a butterfly warn predators of poison. The stripes of a zebra confuse the eye in motion. The shimmering feathers of a bird invite a mate. Dinosaurs may have spoken in the same silent language. Think of Dilophosaurus, with its twin crests arching from its skull. Were they bare bone? Or covered in bright skin? Perhaps they flushed red in moments of display, like the throats of lizards today. Imagine two rivals facing each other, their crests glowing in the sun, signaling dominance without a single blow. Or picture a tiny raptor. In the underbrush, feathers shimmering faintly blue. It calls softly, displaying its beauty to a potential mate. To us, its colors would be dazzling. To its kind, they were survival. The difference between passing on its genes or fading into obscurity. Iridescence in the forest, not all beauty, reveals itself in sunlight. Some shines in shadow. In a dense forest, Microraptor spreads its four wings, gliding silently from tree to tree. Its feathers catch dim light and flash with shifting hues. Blue one moment, green the next, like oil. On water. Iridescence created by microscopic structures bending light. Modern birds use it to dazzle. Think of peacocks, hummingbirds, grackles. For Microraptor, it may have been the same. In the twilight forest, the flash of feathers could signal health, strength, or simple allure. Imagine a clearing where several males gather, each spreading wings in display. Their bodies shimmer with colors that change as they move, a prehistoric dance floor of living jewels. The forest becomes a stage, and the night alive with silent beauty, the sea of scales far away. In a coastal lagoon, a herd of iguanodon lowers, their heads to drink. Their skin, preserved in faint fossil impressions, suggests a patchwork of small scales, perhaps greenish-gray like crocodiles, blending with reeds, or perhaps striped, patterned like fish that glide in shallow waters. Some scientists believe even ocean giants, like the mosasaurs, bore patterned skin. Imagine vast predators, not plain gray, but marked with stripes or mottling, their bodies flashing like shadows beneath the waves. In the sunlit shallows, those patterns could break their outlines, hiding them from prey until the moment of strike. The sea had its colors too, not of feathers, but of scales, spots, and stripes. A world painted bright. Step back. Look at the age of dinosaurs as a whole. Forests alive with shimmering raptors, plains crossed by striped hadrosaurs, swamps echoing with the crests of glowing Dilophosaurus, skies filled with the wings of pterosaurs, some perhaps bearing colors as vivid as parrots. This was not a drab world. It was painted, patterned, glowing. A world of living canvases speaking in silent colors across endless ages. The science of imagination, but we must be honest. Much remains unknown. Fossils reveal only fragments, whispers of color here and there. Most of the dinosaur palette is still a mystery. And yet, imagination bridges the gap. By looking at birds, the living descendants of dinosaurs, we glimpse the possibilities. Birds are among the most colorful creatures on Earth. From flamingos to macaws, kingfishers to pheasants, their feathers blaze with every hue of the rainbow. Why would their ancestors have been any less? So we dream. We paint the past not in grays, but in light. We allow the dinosaurs their beauty, their patterns, their brilliance. Because even if we cannot yet know every shade, we know this: the world of the dinosaurs was not dull. It was alive. The last light, the sun dips once more. Horizon burns red. Shadows stretch across a plain where dinosaurs move slowly toward rest. Their colors fade in the dying light, stripes and spots vanishing into silhouette, feathers losing their shimmer, but as night falls, the memory of their beauty remains. A beauty hidden in stone for millions of years. A beauty we are only just beginning to rediscover. And perhaps when you close your eyes tonight, you too will dream in color, the colors of a lost world, shimmering once more across the canvas of time. Chapter 14. The last horizon. The horizon stretches endlessly. A thin golden line where the ancient sky meets the rolling plains of the late Cretaceous world. It is evening, and the day's heat is softening into cool air, carrying with it the scent of ferns, flowers, and distant rain. The age of dinosaurs has lasted for more than 150 million years. Yet here, on this quiet evening, time feels still. Nothing seems to end. Everything continues, in rhythm, in peace. A herd of triceratops moves slowly across a wide meadow, their footsteps pressing soft impressions into the earth. Their horns and frills, so dramatic in the light of day, glow faintly now under the fading sun. Young ones stay close to their mothers, occasionally nudging their way through the tall cycads, learning the ancient paths that their ancestors once followed. The great herbivores breathe deeply, clouds of mist rising as the air cools, their shapes like walking monuments of another age. Above them, pteranodons circle in slow, steady arcs. Their wings catch the last golden rays of sunlight, shining like stretched sails. They do not rush. They glide, suspended between earth and sky, their shadows drifting across the ground like silent storytellers. For millions of years they have ruled the air, and tonight they still do. The air carries their cries, sharp, distant, yet softened. By the evening, fading into the hush of twilight. In the forests nearby, ankylosaurs move through ferns with gentle weight. Their armored hides gleam with dew, each step deliberate, as though the earth itself remembers them. They pause to pull at low branches, their tails dragging quietly through the underbrush. These giants are not in battle tonight. They are not fighting. They are simply being calm, alive, part of a world vast beyond measure. The last horizon is not yet the end. It is life unfolding as it always has, in rhythms older than memory. The rivers still flow, winding through valleys, carving stories into stone. Dragonflies hover at the water's edge, their wings flickering like shards of light. Fish ripple beneath the surface, scattering in schools, while turtles rest on smooth rocks warmed from the day. Nothing speaks of doom here. Only continuity. Farther away, a massive Alamosaurus moves alone. Each step of this sauropod is a slow dance with the ground. The plain trembles faintly beneath its weight, yet the sound is not violent. It is like the heartbeat of the world itself. Its neck stretches long across the fading sky, reaching for leaves on high branches. Every movement is unhurried, as though the creature knows it has all the time in the world. Its shadow stretches farther than the eye can follow, a colossus walking between day and night. Birds, small and feathered, dart through the treetops, their colors blending with twilight. They are the future, though they do not know it. Their calls are soft, weaving into the chorus of insects that hum beneath the trees. The forest comes alive at dusk, not in violence, but in music. 1,000 tiny voices, together forming the song of the last horizon. As darkness deepens, the stars appear, one by one, reflected in pools of water and in the eyes of the creatures who look up at them. Dinosaurs have seen these same stars for millions of years. They are older than the herds, older than the hunters, older even than the first steps of life on the land. The stars shine now as they always have, and to the dinosaurs, they are companions, constant and eternal. A lone Tyrannosaurus stands on a ridge, watching the plains below. Its silhouette is outlined against the last colors of dusk. not as a terror, not as a hunter, but as a presence, still and watchful. The great predator does not roar tonight. It exhales, slow and steady, a sound lost to the wind. It listens to the world. The trample of herds, the rustle of forests, the cries of the night sky. It belongs here as much as any other, part of a balance older than memory. The night deepens. The last horizon glows faintly with the fading light of a sun that will rise again tomorrow, as it always has. Life does not know it is nearing its close. The Triceratops will graze again. The Pteranodons will fly again. The Tyrannosaurus will hunt again. The forests will bloom. The rivers will flow, for the world itself does not hurry. It unfolds slowly, endlessly, until change finally comes. But for now, there is only peace. The last horizon is not a moment of destruction. It is a portrait of life continuing, as though it will never end. The dinosaurs move through it with calm certainty, unaware of what the future holds. Their steps echo into eternity, written in stone, remembered in fossils, whispered in the quiet of the night. And so the age of dinosaurs, vast and beautiful, drifts toward its close, not in fire, not in chaos, but in stillness. A stillness like a breath held at the edge of time. The horizon waits. Chapter 15. When giants dream, the night has fallen, and a soft hush blankets the prehistoric world. The horizon glows faintly, the last hues of sunset melting into deep purples and blues. Stars begin to appear, tiny sparks of light scattered across the sky, each one ancient, each one a witness to life that has long since passed. The earth breathes slowly, a vast and patient rhythm that continues even as creatures of unimaginable size and power lay down to rest. Across the plains, the giants of this age begin their nightly surrender. Herds of sauropods, their massive bodies dwarfing the trees, kneel slowly to the ground. Their necks coil in gentle arcs, eyes blinking heavy with sleep. Young ones nestle beside their mothers, trusting the calm presence of these living mountains. The earth trembles faintly beneath their weight, a heartbeat of the world itself. And as they rest, perhaps they drift into dreams, fields of endless green, forests that reach forever, leaves at the perfect height, rivers flowing cool and sweet. In this quiet realm of imagination, hunger fades, predators vanish, and every step leads to safety and abundance. Nearby, a family of Triceratops curls together in protective formation. Adults face outward, horns angled like silent sentinels, guarding their young as they drift into slumber. Dreams carry them across meadows where dust rises in golden clouds beneath countless hooves, where the rivers twist through the plains like silver ribbons. The little ones imagine endless games, exploration without danger, and the soothing rhythm of the herd moving as one through timeless landscapes. Their horns catch faint moonlight, not as tools of defense, but as symbols of enduring connection and unity. Deeper in the shadows of the forest, a Tyrannosaurus rex finally lowers its massive head. The great predator exhales, chest rising, and falling in a slow, steady rhythm. Its eyes close. What does a creature of such might dream of? Does it chase phantom prey in a perfect hunt where fatigue and hunger are forgotten? Or does it wander softly through silent forests, its power tempered by peace, a presence moving through a world unbroken and infinite? Perhaps for this one night, the tyrant king is gentle, lost in a dreamscape where the weight of the day cannot reach him. Above the forests, a pterosaur folds its wings and rests upon a cliff. In sleep, the cliff dissolves. Winds lift the creature into eternal flight, where skies stretch beyond the horizon and sunlight dances across clouds in endless arcs. Here, the air offers no resistance, no need to hunt, no fear of falling. The pterosaur glides for eternity, caught in a dream that transcends reality, a perfect dance above oceans and mountains bathed in twilight. Beneath the moonlit waters, a plesiosaur drifts through a quiet lagoon. Its movements are slow, deliberate, and rhythmic. In its dream, the sea opens into an infinite expanse, currents weaving silver threads through the water. Schools of fish shimmer like stars, swirling and parting with fluid elegance. There is no hunt, no struggle, only grace, motion, and the serene beauty of endless gliding. A raptor sleeps curled among the ferns. Its claws flex as it dreams of running through endless forests. In its mind, trees and undergrowth blur past effortlessly. Prey is always just ahead, never caught, never lost. It runs, leaps, and weaves through a world of freedom and motion. A perfect echo of instinct shaped by imagination. Even the smallest dinosaurs, often overlooked, become immense and magnificent in the theater of sleep. Dreams are the bridge between memory and imagination. They take the fragments of the day, the sounds of wings, the brush of scales, the shimmer of sunlight on skin, and weave them into something new, something beyond the limits of time. Perhaps dinosaurs dreamed of migrations they had yet to take, of mountains they had yet to climb, of skies they had never crossed. In dreams, the impossible becomes ordinary. The fleeting becomes eternal. As night deepens, the world itself seems to join in this dreaming. Forests whisper in the wind. Rivers hum gently, tracing paths that have existed for millions of years. The stars burn cold and bright above, timeless observers of life below. In this stillness, dinosaurs wander, soar, swim, and run without end. The earth and its inhabitants breathe as one, a single quiet pulse. In the final nights of the Cretaceous, comets and distant lights streak across the sky, unnoticed by the creatures below. Dinosaurs sleep, their dreams unconcerned with what is to come. The end of their age approaches, yet in their minds, there's only life unbroken, journeys unending, and a world that continues to flourish. Extinction, the distant shadow, cannot touch the sanctuary of their dreams. In every corner of this vast world, creatures drift into the shared realm. The massive sauropods roam endless plains. The triceratops move through meadows with gentle curiosity. Tyrannosaurus walks silently through forests of moonlight. Pterosaurs glide eternally through skies that never end. Plesiosaurs swim in oceans, stretching beyond sight, and raptors run endlessly among phantom forests. Their dreams are varied, vivid, and infinite, yet together they form a chorus of the Mesozoic night, a symphony that stretches across time, and as we, the witnesses, close our eyes alongside them, we are drawn into this dream. We walk beside the giants, we soar with the winged hunters, we glide beneath the waves, we run with the swift and small. In imagination, their world continues. It flows through our minds, through our stories, through the fossils that whisper secrets from stone. The age of dinosaurs, though it ended in fire and upheaval, survives in memory, in dreams, in imagination. In sleep, it never ended at all. Across the plains, beneath the waves, through forests and skies, the dinosaurs dream on. Their existence lingers, timeless, boundless, eternal. And as the night stretches ever onward, the dreams of these giants become part of ours. We carry them. As we drift into our own sleep, cradled by the calm and majesty of an age that once was. Their world is alive in us, shimmering in our imagination, and echoing softly in the quiet of night. Forever alive, forever dreaming, forever part of the Earth's eternal song.